Welcome back to the 2008 Aussie Millions Cash Game Invitational. Once again, I'm Barry Tompkins, my partner Howard Lederer alongside. Looking once again to the standings, the trend continues with Patrick Antonius at the top and Gus Hansen now down at the other end. Not a familiar spot for last year's main event champion to be in. Hansen straddling this hand, so first action is going to be on Adams with a king-jack.
Well, king-jack suited. Certainly a hand worthy of a raise. He makes it 8,000 to go.
Now the action over to the 21-year-old online whiz Tom Dwan, known mainly by his screen name Durr. Look at a big hand.
Must be thinking about raising here, potentially.
So unlucky.
Well, he just calls.
Tran folds.
If I call, that's some movie.
And so does Tony G.
It's free money to Gus.
As does Gus Hansen.
Well, actually, Gus folding out of turn there.
Sure, I'm gonna play.
Not that I think it
It's like free money.
affects Robert Alexander's decision.
8,000.
He's, of course, going to play a suited hand, Queen 5.
How can I go sleep? I was going to go sleep.
How can you go to sleep with me here?
Very good question. Here's the flop.
9-4 deuce on the flop.
Well, it's a great flop for Durr. Alexander checks, but the pre-flop raiser, Brandon Adams, fires out.
22,000.
Well, we know Durr isn't going to fold here with a solid overpair. And he might raise. No, looks like he's just calling. He calls the 22,000.
Alexander's going to fold.
And what we've seen, he plays very aggressively heads up, but three-handed, he kind of plays his hand values.
On the turn, a 7 of diamonds. That's not going to help Adams. He checks.
Well, one would expect Durr to try and protect his hand against a hand like ace-king or ace-queen. Well, he checks. Gives Adams a free shot at a king here. Ooh! Well, there was one jack in the deck. That could spell disaster for Adams as he's just made top pair with the king. Yes, he's reaching for chips. This is going to cost him.
Counting out his bet here.
He bets 30,000. Of course, Dwan's going to be raising him with top set. Only hand that hasn't beat is 10-8. Not a very likely holding for Adams, who raised in first position. Expect him to make a big raise. Yeah, he's moving all in. Wow, this is a tough spot for Adams. He has to be thinking, what would Dwan check with on the turn and then raise all his chips? Over a $100,000 raise. Well, our Harvard professor is considering, could he have a 10-8? Not very likely. He called on the flop of 9-4 deuce. Maybe he was slow playing a set. He just has to decide whether or not his hand is good. If he were to get away from this hand, this would be another nice laydown. We saw him lay the aces down last week to Durr's set of fours. Yes, he does lay it down and avoids total disaster by folding to Durr's big raise on the river.
While Tom Dwan rakes in over 100,000, we'll take time for another lesson in Aussie speak as we turn to another page in our Down Under Dictionary.
Today on Down Under Dictionary, the word is dog's breakfast.
Dog's breakfast.
Dog's breakfast.
I have cats, so I'm not sure what a dog's breakfast is.
Dog's, is it just yucky food?
Very untasty food.
Green eggs and ham, I have no idea.
How many people are getting this right?
Would it be some kind of whole grain or something?
Dog's breakfast. Noun. A mess.
A mess. It's a mess. Yes. You made a dog's breakfast out of that.
Didgeridoo.
Didgeridoo?
Didgeridoo.
Didgeridoo.
A what? Excuse me?
That means you got it, Buster. No.
A didgeridoo.
Didgeridoo.
It's a pub.
It's comic strips.
Oh, that's the thing, the instrument. It's an instrument that they play.
Didgeridoo. Noun. An Australian Aboriginal musical instrument.
I don't know any Aboriginals. How would I know what their damn instruments are?
See you next time on Down Under Dictionary.
Well, one piece of advice for our viewers, when you go to Australia, don't bring home a didgeridoo to your young son. I've been woken up many times with it. It's not very pleasant.
You didn't straddle?
Can I now?
The guy's got.
Can I now? Yeah, you can. You didn't look at the cards. Go ahead.
So now that Dwan is straddling, first action is going to be on Tran, and he folds. Tony G likewise.
Okay.
Big surprise. Alexander calls with 10-3 suited.
Now Gus Hansen.
Well, Gus counting out a raise. He's been playing aggressively when Alexander's in the pot to isolate. There he goes. He makes it 11,200.
Whoa, look at Adams.
Well, we know last week Adams didn't do too well with his aces. One would expect him to re-raise here. Wait a second. He just calls.
Elezra gets out of the way. Antonius with a pair.
And another small pair. Might get in to see a relatively cheap flop.
He does make the call. Now Dwan will fold.
I'll call any two cards for 11,200.
And he's telling the truth.
So 4 players to the flop.
I must say I have to question Adams' call there.
8-7 deuce with 2 diamonds. Antonius checks.
50,000.
Alexander 50,000 on the flush draw.
Well, we know Gus is going to fold. We'd expect Adams to call. This has worked out pretty well for him. He's going to get to raise for all his chips. Well, you can see he calls very quickly. He actually raises all in. Antonius is going to fold a small pair.
I call.
It's dangerous, but he's in great shape. 2-1 for all his chips.
So Alexander makes the call. He needs any diamond or runner for trips or 2 pair.
But it comes diamond. Adams is going to win with his ace of diamonds. He's in great shape here. Aces haven't been lucky for him so far. Let's see what happens on 4th Street.
King of spades.
No help to Alexander. He's going to need a diamond or he's going to lose this big pot.
It's only money.
Now to the river. And we'll see whose money. It is a 6 of spades, and Brandon Adams is going to take down a pot with $206,400 in it. A little redemption for Adams and for Alexander, his first big loss of the night.